Hi, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to go over using symbols, graphic symbols in particular, in Flash. So I've got a new Flash file set up here, and I've got one layer, which is my background layer. It's got my sky and my land on there. And I'm going to focus on my trees layer. The layer that I'm not working with at the moment is currently locked. My trees layer has nothing on it. And I'm going to create a few quick trees that I can then create symbols out of. I'll start off with a rectangle tool, the brown fill, black stroke. Okay, and I'll just go ahead and draw a rectangle there using my selection tool. Let me push this in a bit. Okay, there we go. I'm going to use a polystar. Go to Options, and I will choose a polygon, 3 sides. Looks good. And I will choose a white fill here. Let me just create a quick triangle. Here we go. So I've got a little triangle. Let's go ahead and get that selected with the stroke. Move this over here. Got that. And get rid of the stroke. Okay, so there's my tree trunk. I'm going to go ahead and scale this down a bit. I'll use my transform tool. Size a little bit better. And while I've got that, I'm going to go ahead and make a couple copies, just holding my control key down while clicking and dragging. There we go, so I got a few tree trunks. Ultimately, I'm going to make symbols out of each of these. And let me just do a really quick tree topper. So I will use a pen tool, and that's okay. And let me there we go. Fill this out a bit. And let's get some fill on here. Looks good. Oh, I selected a little bit too much on that one, so change this fill back to the brown of the other tree. There we go. Got a couple trees. Change the fill on this one. There we go, and let me make one more tree over here. I will go back to my polystar, which I think is still set as a triangle. Choose some green. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, and let me just get rid of some of these lines here. Excellent, so now I've got 3 trees. I'm going to go ahead and select this middle tree, and I'm going to skew it just a bit and make it a little shorter. So I've got 3 distinctly different trees. Okay, so once you've drawn something on your stage, it's really easy to convert something into a symbol to add to your library. So I'm going to go ahead and use my selection tool. I'll select one tree at a time. Select it. I'm going to press F8 on my keyboard. It's going to be a graphic symbol, and I'll go ahead and call this green tree. Click OK. Let me go ahead and select my red tree. Press F8. Red tree. And then I'll select my pine tree. F8, pine tree. And now that I've made symbols out of each of these, I can actually delete them right off the stage. And I'm not worried about that, because if I go over to my library panel, which is currently hidden, but let me expose my library panel, I can see that I have my green tree, pine tree, and red tree readily available. And if I wanted to, I can go to my library, take this symbol out, and I can drag as many of these trees on there that I like. So, and that's really the benefit of using a symbol. You can use it multiple times in your movie. Now, these are symbols, and if I wanted to modify the symbol, easy enough to do. I could double-click on any one of these instances of a symbol. I have 3 instances of my red tree symbol. I can double-click on any one of these to go into the edit mode for that particular symbol. And if I make a change here, for instance, if I go to my, if I select the fill on the tree, and I change the fill color, let's say to blue, notice how all the instances change because they are all based off of that same symbol. I'll just Control-Z to undo that, and they're back to red again. And to get back into my scene, I'll just click on my link, Scene 1. So there's my red tree symbol. And of course I can overlap these without worrying about them merging over each other. I can right-click on this middle one. I'm going to choose Arrange, which is off screen here, and bring forward, so now that's up in the front. Of course I can size that one in the back, so a little smaller too. So that's one of the great things about using symbols in Flash. Now if I want to work with a particular instance, for instance, I'll take this one in the back here and move it off to the side for a moment. I'm going to press Control-B to break it apart. And now I can click on the individual components using my selection tool, and I can change the fill of this one individually. And I'll change this one over to a purple. So now this one instance has changed. And in fact, I should correct that. It's not really an instance anymore. Just so we can keep track of this, if I click on one of these red trees, notice in my property panel, it is a graphic symbol. Whereas if I select my new purple tree, notice in my properties panel, it's a shape. So it's no longer an instance of my graphic symbol. When I broke it apart, it reverted back to a regular merge shape. So that means if I were to edit my red tree symbol, select the fill on the tree, I'll change it over to this pinkish color. Notice my instance to the left changed, but not my purple tree, which was broken apart. Control-Z to undo that. So there we go. And I'll take this red tree symbol, move it over there, and I could select both of these, press F8, and I could call this tree group as a graphic symbol. So now I have a tree group as one of my symbols, along with my pine tree, red tree, and green tree. There we go. So using symbols in your Flash animations will allow you to make repetitive objects like trees or birds or clouds or many, many other things easy to work with.